He was the ghost that haunted New York City for half a century, a name whispered in the darkest corners of the underworld. They called him the Quiet Don, a phantom who ruled the most powerful crime family in America with an iron fist, yet whose face was virtually unknown. This is the story of Vincent the Chin Gigante, the man who outsmarted the FBI, outlived his rivals, and held the throne as America's longest-serving mafia boss. How did one man maintain such absolute power while pretending to be insane? Prepare to uncover the secrets of the most enigmatic and enduring leader in Mafia history. To understand the genius of Vincent Gigante, we have to go back to the beginning. Born in 1928 in the gritty streets of Lower Manhattan, Gigante was a product of his environment. He was big, he was tough, and he quickly found his calling not in school, but in the boxing ring. Known as the Chin for his prominent jawline, he was a decent light heavyweight, but his real talent lay outside the ropes. His boxing career connected him with powerful figures, and it wasn't long before he caught the eye of the Genovese crime family, one of New York's infamous five families. His early days in the mob were marked by a pivotal, audacious act. In 1957, Gigante was tasked with a high-stakes hit on the then-boss of his own family, Frank Costello. Gigante approached Costello in his apartment building lobby, called out, "This is for you, Frank," and fired. Miraculously, Costello only suffered a graze wound and survived. But here's where Gigante's strategic mind first shone through. When Costello was questioned, he refused to identify his shooter, adhering strictly to the code of omerta. This loyalty, this willingness to step up for a high-risk job, earned Gigante immense respect and solidified his position within the family. He beat the subsequent charges and walked away a made man, his reputation now legendary. This event set the stage for the rise of a new kind of mob boss. Gigante learned a crucial lesson from Costello's flamboyant, public lifestyle which attracted too much attention. He realized that true power wasn't in the spotlight, but in the shadows. As he began his climb through the Genovese ranks, he cultivated an image of a low-level enforcer, nothing more. He was patient, observant, and incredibly disciplined. He watched as other high-profile bosses like John Gotti, the Dapper Don, basked in media glory, only to be brought down by their own egos and the relentless pursuit of law enforcement. Gigante chose a different path. His strategy was simple yet brilliant, calculated violence and absolute discretion. When action was needed, it was swift, decisive, and untraceable. He understood that violence wasn't for show. It was a tool to maintain order, eliminate threats, and enforce discipline. But unlike his contemporaries, he never reveled in it. Every move was a chess piece, placed with precision to consolidate power without making waves. He forged strategic alliances with the other families, not through flashy meetings in public restaurants, but through trusted intermediaries and coded messages. He became the ultimate puppet master, pulling the strings of New York's vast criminal empire from behind a carefully constructed curtain. By the early 1980s, Gigante had ascended to the throne, becoming the boss of the Genovese family, often called the Ivy League of organized crime for its cunning and business acumen. It was then that he deployed his masterstroke, the performance of a lifetime, to insulate himself from the FBI, who were aggressively using the RICO Act to dismantle the Mafia. Gigante began his infamous Oddfather Act. He would wander the streets of his Greenwich Village neighborhood in a tattered bathrobe and slippers, muttering incoherently to himself, seemingly lost in a world of his own. His family claimed he suffered from schizophrenia and dementia brought on by his boxing days. This wasn't just a casual act. It was a full-time commitment. He checked himself into psychiatric hospitals. He was declared mentally incompetent to stand trial on multiple occasions. The FBI agents surveilling him would log hours of bizarre behavior, feeding into the narrative he so carefully crafted. Was he truly insane? The feds didn't think so, but proving it was another matter entirely. This act of feigned insanity was his ultimate shield. It allowed him to operate with impunity. While other bosses were being recorded on wiretaps, Gigante communicated through a complex system of whispers and messengers, never speaking business in any place that could be bugged. He never even said the word mafia. He referred to it simply as the thing under his leadership. The Genovese family flourished, controlling everything from the Fulton fish market to the construction industry, generating hundreds of millions of dollars a year. His control was absolute. He maintained power by keeping his capos and soldiers in the dark about the full extent of his sanity. Only a select few in his inner circle knew the truth. This compartmentalization made him virtually untouchable. If a soldier was arrested, they genuinely believed their boss was a mentally ill old man, making it impossible for them to flip and provide credible testimony against him. It was a strategy of psychological warfare against both his own men and the government. For decades, the charade worked. The Quiet Don ran the most powerful criminal organization in the country from a park bench, dressed in pajamas. The FBI, frustrated and astounded, spent millions trying to prove he was faking it. They gathered testimony from high-level informants, including Sammy the Bull Gravano, who famously said, "I thought Gotti was a genius, but my genius was a fake." The Chin is the real genius. The government finally got their break in the late 1990s. They managed to build a powerful racketeering case against him, and despite his legal team's insistence on his insanity, the jury saw through the act. In 1997, Vincent Gigante was convicted of racketeering and conspiracy to commit murder. Yet even from behind bars, his legend grew. He continued to run the family from prison through his sons and other intermediaries. The Bathrobe Act continued, but the walls were closing in. The final chapter came in 2003, facing new charges, and with the prospect of spending the rest of his life in a federal medical facility, Gigante finally dropped the act. In a stunning courtroom admission, he pleaded guilty and admitted his decades-long insanity defense was a complete sham, a calculated deception to obstruct justice. The Quiet Don had finally spoken, and his confession sent shockwaves through the world. Vincent the Chin Gigante died in federal prison in 2005, having served as a mafia boss for nearly 25 years, longer than any other in American history. His story is a masterclass in strategy, discipline, and psychological manipulation. He wasn't the flashiest or the most famous, but he was arguably the most effective. He understood that in the world of organized crime, the loudest voice is often the first to be silenced. True power, enduring power, is held by the one who can control the game without anyone knowing they're the one playing. What do you think? Was Gigante a true criminal genius, or just a product of his time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. His story raises so many questions about the nature of power and deception. But there's one more secret about Gigante's reign, a final, hidden layer to his strategy that even the FBI struggled to comprehend, which ultimately explains why the Genovese family remains a force even today. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden corners of history. Thanks for watching.